What's going on, everybody? And welcome back and Happy New Year to the A Show with the Kings of Pro Wrestling Podcast. I am Justin, slightly recovering, here with Meelz. What's going on, man?
That was a long day yesterday, man. It was long for me.
I knew it was going to be a long day yesterday, but luckily I had the greatest partner in crime that anybody could ask for. Rolling with me yesterday all day as we did all manner of
Hood rat things, yes, of
hood
course.
rat things and errands. Of course, host of the Rewriters Room, writer in his own right, our good friend of the pod, member of the damn A Show Network, Armon Sadler. What's going on, Armon? This is the
A Show
second time.
Media, A Show Media, by
A
the
Show
way.
Media, yeah.
That's where we're going
Yes,
by now.
sir. Yes, sir.
Josh told me to say that.
That
He told
was
me to say
fire.
that.
I was like, what?
Yeah,
Mind you,
I
I'm in the
loved hearing
middle of,
that.
mind you, I'm in the middle of a conversation with my niece as this is all going on, and it's just playing in the background, and then I hear the voice. I was like, and like a smile jotted from my face, and I said, "That's my co-host." And she was like, "What?" Because this is like 12 a.m. at this point.
Yeah.
And this is like, that's my co-host. So I went over to walk to the TV, and I was like, "Wow, what a moment! What a great time!
Yeah,
Like,
man.
good stuff."
We're gonna get all into that. All the fun stuff from the night that was Raw on Netflix last night. And of course I had Armand with me. Um, but I mean, before we even get to all of that, uh New Year's. It's a new year,
Mhm.
motherfuckers. It's a new year. How are we feeling so far a week into it?
It's been crazy. It's kind of been a crazy New Year. Like, low key, on the lowest of keys, like New Year started out kind of crazy with like the shootings and the car crash and the subway and the
Yeah.
I'm low key is like 2025 is starting kind of hot. Like, I feel like I don't know if all New Year's start pretty hot. Um, but this seems more notable than usual. So I've been like trying to keep a lookout. Like when I go outside, I'm like, all right, something might happen.
Yeah.
Chill.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like ever since 2021, with obviously the infamous January 6th, like there's always something within the first week. And obviously last year we had Cat Williams. And then this year going into the new year, we had the salacious Joe Budden story and now the stuff with Fox Sports. It's just like a lot going on. I'm very like overwhelmed and stimulated just by constantly reading shit and being asked about shit. And yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, it almost feels like there's always something going on every day now. And it's like it is kind of crazy. I mean, luckily, you know, it's a little bit more positive than it was or it has been, but we at least have some really cool shit to talk about in the first 6 or 7 days. Um Listen, man, I mean, do we wanna get into wrestling news first? I mean, we have a lot to talk about tonight. There's been a lot going on in wrestling, not just with Raw and Netflix, but we had the AEW simulcast that premiered last week that
Oh
I did
yeah.
watch. Yeah.
Completely. My Rolodex didn't go back that far.
Yeah, we had that last week. The Max simulcast happened last week. It featured a few matches of note.
It went
Uh
off literally like it was any other fucking dynamite.
Yeah, and then trying to figure out something to talk about from the
Hmm.
show, I like the biggest hits are probably like the Ricochet heel turn and Cope coming back and having his first match.
Cope
I
is
I
kind of crazy.
Cope is
Cope is
I
nuts.
mean, it's a lot of Cope, but it's I think, comparing presentation to presentation, okay?
Don't.
I will, in a different way.
Okay.
Um
Okay.
AEW was first to this last week. They were first to get on a streaming service live, in that sense, and really do what they had to do, and without even talking about our experience at Raw.
I mean, I guess
Watching
on a
it,
weekly show, right? Like technically, I guess a weekly show. Like WWE's been streaming forever. New Japan's been streaming forever live. So I mean, they got to it on a weekly basis. So I guess they did win that. Yes, for sure.
Yeah, like they I mean, and again, it's about, it's all about perception. They planted their flag first. I'll give them that. I think that, like, in the sense of did this feel like a big show? I do not think it felt like a big show. You kind of opening with Orange Cassidy is crazy. Okay, on a show where like a bunch of casuals are trying to watch and it's their first time watching, like opening with Orange Cassidy is great. Like I just sometimes don't know what when there are when someone talks about AEW and correct me if I'm wrong, right? Like you want to tell them like the strengths of the show. And I think that on the outset, if your strengths are like showing them that Orange Cassidy match first and not one of your big stars and not Monet and not, Kenny Omega or anybody like that, I think that's kind of crazy. I mean, I could see a lot of people tuning out on that.
I could see people. I feel like from we talked about it kind of last year, a little bit earlier, or maybe it was like the year before that, of like the weird internet interest with Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
Because when we go to
Obsession.
his you, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Obsession with it.
Because when we go to his YouTube page, he's like the sixth of like the top 10 most viewed videos in
Yeah.
AEW history. So I could see for that, but realistically, like it was a weird experience coming off of. They just came off their World's End pay per view.
Mhm.
Um, they have another essentially pay per view coming up the following weekend that they can't promote, um, or seemingly just didn't promote. Can't confirm which one or the other, but it looks like it didn't make any sense to promote it.
Right.
Um, they didn't really have all of their stars there, especially in some sort of wrestling capacity role. You look at kind of like what happened with Netflix. I mean, Punk wrestled and Roman wrestled on weekly television, which never happens.
Right.
To kind of like, okay, let's get the foot in the door and show them this premium experience. Um, AEW kind of had none of that. It was kind of business as usual, which I find weird as especially just coming off of a pay per view.
Perplexing
Yeah,
why they did that.
yeah. I was kind of concerned about why they would choose that route. I think the biggest angle ended up being the Ricochet thing. Um, but realistically, like, how do you not put your best? How does this something that you've craved for? You feel like fans have demanded. You feel like this is what's going to introduce you to a new audience potentially, which it hasn't. Um, and you don't put your best foot forward and showcasing what you have to offer. To me, that's kind of crazy. But I mean, I guess they have another shot at it this week. But I don't think anyone. The thing about
Another shot. Let's see what they serving up. Let me
the thing about Max is, but the thing about Max is like,
It's a lesser platform.
yeah, and you don't really go to it unless there's something you really want to see. So it's
Mhm.
not like Netflix where it's like there's a slew of different things, and I guess it's like, well, they promoted the hell out of it, like the Netflix thing. But it's not like, to me, their sports section, the Sports on Max thing, I don't go to Sports on Max unless I know there's a game on that I want to see.
Yeah.
Just point blank.
This is
Like,
what they serving. Hold on. This is what they serving this week.
okay,
Tomorrow, in fact.
okay.
Mark Briscoe, Bobby Lashley.
This
Banger.
is this is their Drew and Jey Uso.
Yeah.
It's
uh,
yeet, but like it's really, he's trying to say another word, but his teeth that's missing is
oh my
making him
lord.
say yeet.
Oh my lord.
It's green.
It's the casino gauntlet match with nobody named in it other than I think we know that Jay White's in it, right? And he gets
Yeah,
like a
Jay
favorable
White.
spot.
Well, Jay White, Swerve, and I think Roderick Strong. Those three were fine for number one. So I'm assuming that they're all in it. Except I guess maybe Swerve isn't in it
Nah,
anymore.
Swerve ain't in it. So here's the thing. I'm not a fan of Swerve at all,
Yes.
but there's no way his booking, like other than like him getting like people cheering his like chanting his theme or whatever.
Hmm.
What is he getting out of the booking of him like since August? What has he gotten? He is always getting his ass whipped and he is always losing matches. So in what way is he like looking better than he is now?
I, I I think a lot of people feel like they're giving back to the company at a
Yeah,
point of
right.
their career when they should be still utilizing, still kind of like getting their star on the rise. I think a lot of them have like, okay, but we need to build new stars. I'm like, well, you ain't even done yet, bro. Like you're not even there. You know what I'm saying? You haven't been crowned. You haven't even been ushered. You know what I'm saying? You're not even really a draw. high,
I s
low key,
I say
high
that to
key.
say, I say that to say, um, he's booked like shit. Also, Kenny Omega returns. Oh, cool, man. So he's not wrestling here, but he's wrestling on in Japan on a show that they couldn't really promote and that they will probably not tell you anything about. Um, and MJF appears live. So that is what they serving up for niggas this week on AEW Dynamite.
Sounds incredible.
Sorry. Jeff Jarrett appears live.
Hey, there we go.
So that's 1, 2, 3 segments. They have it now. I'm pretty sure Monet is gonna come out and say she's the greatest of all time and then leave again. So that's four segments. I just think that they are grossly they're grossly kind of they're fumbling chances to really make a mark here. And I think people are like cool with them resting on their laurels because they got the deal. I don't
Yeah.
think this is like a great I don't think the deal's really done anything for them yet. Like I'm not seeing any of that.
You have any thoughts, Armand, before I go in?
um, yeah, honestly, the deal just feels more like a gotcha because there was the narrative that people didn't think they would get one. And so now that they have it, like they're like, all right, I mean, we good. We could just keep doing what we were doing. I didn't watch last week. I was still in Ghana. I was like 5 hours ahead. So I
They
barely
don't got
couldn't even
AEW in Ghana?
um I couldn't access my like normal streaming services. Like I couldn't access
I
YouTube.
wouldn't have asked you to, don't worry.
Max doesn't work. Like I was very limited in what I could watch. So like I barely even watched SmackDown and Raw. But yeah, for me, AEW has kind of lost me. Like I watch the pay-per-views if I'm like home with nothing else to do on those days. But yeah, AEW has kind of lost me. And I don't really see them getting me back, even though I was never really in it to begin with. So Godspeed.
So I feel like with this new Max thing, you kind of got to also bring something to the table,
Mhm.
which I think is a large reason why I don't really see this working long term. Because if people weren't watching on TV, I don't know why they would decide to just fire up an app for 9.99 to start watching out of nowhere unless the product was good. Um, so I highly, highly doubt that uh, this is going to. And you look at the ratings. To be honest with you, it didn't seem like that many people translated from TV to to the app.
We
It was
don't know
kind of
the
like
app
this
we don't know the app numbers, but the 588, I think, K is, like, pretty telling as to, like, it
same
de
people.
it definitely I would say more than anything split there. I've never, like and I don't think I've voiced this, but I've never been, like, the biggest fan of the idea of them doing the simulcast
Hmm.
because I think that you're fracturing your audience again. It's already, like, not
Yeah, yeah,
big.
yeah.
So it's either you go all in live like Netflix did with WWE or you don't go in at all. So it's like everyone, all their fans have been like, the max move is it. And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like the max move is kind of crazy for them right now. Like it
I
doesn't seem
look.
like it makes sense.
I low key feel like realistically, people wanted the Max move just so they could watch the pay per views on Max.
Mhm.
Um, but the fact you probably still have to pay for the pay per views and watch it on Max doesn't make it as you know as much of an easy experience for everyone else as kind of watching WWE is. WWE has low key tricked us in paying for multiple platforms over the last number of years, but we don't really complain because we're like, okay, bet we tapped in. Like the
Mhm.
hype was real yesterday. It
Yeah.
was incredibly real. I said I said at like 6:15 at my computer. I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm waiting for Raw. I was like, I need to watch a movie. I need to do something else. Like I was legitimately like, I don't know what to do. What do we do before? I didn't want to watch more wrestling because I don't want to burn myself.
What's up, guys? Justin here from the freaking future. Okay, so my power went out. Okay, unfortunately, while we recorded one small part. So I'm going to catch you guys back up to what we were talking about after my power came back. But just for context, we were talking about AEW and New Japan shows over the weekend. So we're going to bring you right back there. Future Justin signing out. And I mean, just on the, international front, Kenny Omega returned. I think I mentioned this a little bit earlier. Kenny Omega returned in Japan, facing Gabe Kidd in what many believe is a match of the year contender. I have not got a chance to watch it, but you had that happen. You had
I
Ricochet.
saw it. It was cool.
Yeah, yeah, it was cool.
I saw it. No, I mean, to be honest with you, I think um I've just reached a standard of like what Kenny matches are. And I think he's one of those who's always going to deliver if he had the chance to deliver, and especially he's going to deliver in Japan.
Right.
Um, so I it is as good as Kenny has been, which is great considering it seems like he hasn't missed a step since he's been out like pretty much over a year now. So yeah, it's a great match. I recommend everyone go see it.
We also had Mercedes Moné picking up yet another title
Mm.
and becoming the greatest wrestler of all time. I know Meelz, you were on social media fighting them off again.
I was listen.
You're quickly taking my place in my absence of
Hmm.
being the most hated man on Twitter right now.
I
You and
so I'm
Quan.
not hated. No, but my thing is that I'm not hated by like sane people. You know what I'm saying? Like there's there were very few people who went in and had like a typical I mean, there are the obviously the Monet stands were like, you dipshit, leave us alone. She's the best. She made the. But the thing is, so the Wrestle Rep account um said essentially something along the lines of like she's helping making stars, and I'm just like there hasn't been a star that she has made since going over to AEW. Like she hasn't really helped I would say the prominence of being in the big match definitely helps people getting attention, but I don't know if she's made a star. And
Mhm.
everyone's like, no, Willow and Chris, and she got Stephanie Vakira a
They're not
job.
stars. The Willow and Chris are not stars.
Will and
Yeah.
Chris are not stars, bro.
They
Like we
feel like
just
they're
had
at the
an
same
w-
level they were before they faced her.
And what are they basing the star part on? Like, are they
they
basing
don't
it like
know.
they don't yeah, they don't fucking know.
They don't know. Like my thing is that
They're basing it off social media. They're basing it off of that, and I think that, like,
they
that's hilarious.
but my thing is that like you know these girls existed before she got there. You knew that, mind you, another minor point in the Stephanie Vakir argument. So she also didn't win the match,
Yeah.
so it's not like she also didn't win.
It's essentially Mercedes having good
She had a as good of a performance as Mercedes, in my opinion. Like, I don't think she did any. I don't think this was like clearly Mercedes is the better wrestler in this situation. I don't think that was the case. I think she had a clearly very impressive showing. Now, did the match lead to her getting signed? Yes, but I also take into account what got her signed was the fact that AEW also had interest. So WWE moved in very quickly,
Mhm.
as you do with most things when you have two people who want to sign the same person. You're like,
And
okay,
she also tried out for WWE in like 2018, right?
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So
She tried out then, but
so
everyone was
like
like,
so she was
so
kind of
they
on their
didn't sign
radar
her
already.
then. But they were like, so they couldn't sign her in the last 6 years or something along those lines. They wait until Mercedes show up for her to sign her. I'm like, sometimes that's what it takes, bro. Sometimes
Mhm.
it takes a number of years before you get there, but to discredit, and people are not outwardly discrediting it, but they're subtly discrediting these women and what they have accomplished in their own right
Mhm.
before Mercedes got there, or even, as Mercedes is still there. I think Willow would have had literally the same run of being in doing international things, of um being featured on the show, as being, I guess, a one of the only faces in the women's division that people give a damn about. I
Mhm.
think all of that would have happened whether Mercedes was there or not.
Mhm.
Um, she was already on her way. She's already a
And
top 10 wrestler.
you said the best thing there. It was this stuff was already gonna happen. Now, will the stuff with, uh, Willow and Chris happen? I don't think so. I
But
think that their
they blame
idea
Mercedes for why they're a star, and then if it doesn't work out, they blame AEW, and I'm like, "Bruh, it don't work like that."
it's all AEW's fault.
Mhm.
Yes, all of it.
Yeah, it's all AEW's fault. I mean, obviously, it's clear that, she kind of, books herself, or not even kinda, she books herself, but, like, this is all, this is all self-inflicted. This is self-inflicted things. I saw a couple of the things that people were saying about what you had to say about Mercedes and her star power and things of that nature. I think that, like, when you think about real stars and you think about building those real stars, it's about putting them in positions to do that. I don't think that sending Willow to Mexico every time she loses a match means that she's a star.
Yeah.
I don't think that Chris getting beat up by a girl that's like 3 feet shorter than her and giving tombstone power drivers and just barely eking out a count out, or beating a count out makes her look great. I think that there's like, and I think that under these same, influences, under these same, qualifiers, if you will, they would say that they'd say that any other woman was being buried if that was the case. If Becky does this, what
Hmm.
Sasha's doing, they'd be like, "Oh, they'd be on her ass," but she's not, because ultimately everyone that she's faced off against, look at the lineage right now of everyone Becky's faced in the last year. I don't even
Yeah.
wanna name their names. Look at the
Yeah,
lineage of what's
no,
going on with
but
them now.
I also feel like if you're a fan of Mercedes, I guess you're under the guise of like she's been unappreciated and undervalued for her career, and now she's finally getting hers. When realistically, I think one, she hasn't, because she's won pretty much every damn title. She may have won the Royal Rumble this year if she stayed. I'm not even gonna hold you. Like there's things that going to happen to her because she is a star. Um, however, uh, I don't think this is the same way. I think she's also one of those people who her talent is good enough to make other people, and I think that's what WWE did as well. They were like, okay, they can have a competitive match, they can have a, you know, thing match, they can have one of those matches. And they used that to help propel their talents like Rhea, or their talents like Bianca, or their talents like whoever, and say, okay, let's put them on a pedestal next to her. This is not what's happened in AEW. There is no
Mhm.
next to Mercedes.
They
It is
beat
Mercedes
She
at
beats
the top.
them, she beats them, and then she
They
leaves them the fuck
disappear.
alone. The first person they did not do that with was Chris, and then she just beat her again.
Because
And
the match was so good, and people were complaining about like, oh, AEW has never had a 20-minute women's match. They were like, okay, then let's do it. That's low key how I feel like why this match happened. It's like,
yeah.
okay, let's have a long match. Don't get me wrong, the matches are good, but Chris Star currently not.
Mhm.
Willow Star currently not. Could they be? Absolutely. We had this talk last week, literally on the
Yeah,
show.
bro, them, and then, what the fuck is a chaotic wrestling, bro? Let's be real with these titles, man. What the fuck is a chaotic wrestling, bro?
We were Pro, with the Mandem.
What, I give props to Rev Pro, that's cool, but why she had to beat Mina to do that, bro? Like,
Hey
why, I
man,
mean, like, that's
if
crazy
they
to me.
sign Mina tomorrow, it's because of Mercedes.
Yeah. Come on, man. What, like, all these titles it just feels like this run is like, this is everything that I feel like I deserved for the past decade. I'm like, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Get what you gotta get, but, like, I'm sorry, holding them little penny ante ass
M
fucking
said a great thing on the internet this weekend. M said, "Does she know she has to be pinned to lose these titles?"
like, all of them, bro, like,
Like
every
all
single one
four
of
of them.
them. Bro, 15-0 is crazy, bro.
15
15-0 is
knows great.
nuts.
She could have. I feel like she could have gave up a loss by now. And it's making for a great run, and I think they want to have her be like Women's Wrestler of the Year and get applauded that way, and da 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 da, and all the stuff that they kind of do to help bolster those things for their company. To help to maybe like re-sign her in the future, right? Like here's where you had your best success in AEW as opposed to WWE. But to me, she hasn't yet cultivated a division where there's enough equity between all of the women to be able to like have an attraction match on their own. And maybe it's undoubtedly an AEW fault, right? Like it's undoubtedly an AEW problem. This is their problem, like bar none. Absolute men, women, announcer, plant, whatever they got. This is their problem from the top down. Of they don't know how to make stars. They just know how to book matches. So you know, the whole argument, I had time that this weekend, and I pretty much just took all the time. And I was just like, yeah, but here's why your argument doesn't. And the same people agreed with me. The same people when they woke up at 10 a.m. with their morning coffee or whatever, it was like, oh, that makes sense, yeah. But the trolls that were living at 2 a.m., skipping out on homework and just getting back from the amusement parks and shit like that. Those are the ones who kind of like got at me in a crazy way. So I don't really feel anything about it. I was like, okay, I'm kind of done with this thing because in 2 months we'll ask where Chris is, and everyone's gonna say AEW didn't capitalize on what Mercedes did, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Who's next up for Mercedes? I know like Julia Hart recently returned, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
I
Mm.
think that
she's not ready. She wasn't ready
nah,
before,
nah,
but they
she's
still
not.
had her beat Chris. But she wasn't ready before, and she's still not ready now.
Yeah, I mean, what's next? I would imagine she only has a couple of women at the top that could realistically be next. I mean, Tony is one. That I hate this Tori Storm. We're harping on AEW a lot, but like I hate this Tony Storm thing.
Yeah,
I think it's corny.
I don't
Right,
hate
right.
it, but I feel like it's definitely corny. I feel like, wait, are
Bro, and it
we?
ain't the dog Meals. Ain't nothing happening with it right now. Like
No, that's the major part about it, right? Like we're ignoring the elephant in the room, and like we all can't be ignoring it, like because that's the story, right? The story is like, why does she think she's this way? But instead, we're getting all these little quirky, like one camera things to kind of like explain this stuff, and I'm like, bro, but we have to like tell this story. Like I'm sure they plan on telling the story in the future, but like they're not even like hinting towards it at all. They're like, let's get more laughs out of this. Let's get a giggle over here. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to watch my match? And I'm just like, bruh, what? Like,
This is not the
and then
Chuckletown Meals
and
knows and loves.
yeah, no, this is to me. They would have had a. She already had her sit down with RJ City, but to me, if this
ah,
happened in WWE,
RJ City, the new Gene Okerlund. Yeah.
yeah, I know. But to me in WWE, if this happens, I know everyone's like, "Oh, the comparison," but Michael Cole's would be like, "Nigga, you wrestled it all in last year, right?" Like, we have the tape. Like, show her the tape. What is wrong with you? Um, or if he would at least be concerned that something is wrong with her. Something. Everyone's just
These
kind of
people
like,
are these people are truly acting like this is, like, normal and okay, and this is such a small room, the NXT 2.0 type gimmick,
yeah,
but, like, with none of the growth of, like, a NXT 2.0, like, gimmick where it, like, eventually she stops doing that shit. Like, I truly think that she's putting a lot of trust in them to do the right thing with her right now, and, hopefully it works out. So
Ricochet's putting a lot of trust too.
oh, yeah, that listen, I'll tell you one thing, that heel turn happened, Meals, 12 hours
Mhm.
later, nobody's talking about it.
Well, yeah, it's WWE town. I think it
Mhm.
was. Uh,
There's no way you can tell me, Mills, that
yeah.
I listen to I listen to a couple podcasts and I one thing that I did take away from a lot of what people were saying is that like at the point of when Ricochet left WWE, and I
Mhm.
want to know if you agree or not. He was
Mhm.
definitely being booked at a level that was unlike anything he had been booked before that point in his career at that time. Like he was
I-
definitely on TV every week. He was definitely active
Yeah.
every week. He was
Yeah.
definitely getting reps in more than anything, and then just leaves. I
But
don't
I
know.
don't. But
I don't know if what is happening right now is better than what he was doing already.
I don't think my thing is the only difference is, and we'll talk about the quality of it, is that I think he would have eventually got a segment like this if he stayed because that's what it looked like it was gearing towards, unless
Yep.
like Ilya does tear his quad and then just shit goes belly up. I think this was what it was heading towards anyway. But other than the Logan Paul thing, I don't think he was given like this kind of like segment, this kind of beatdown. I
Lo
had issues with this
Logan Paul thing exposed him. Like, I don't even know why we even bring the Logan Paul thing up anymore. That exposed him.
because only because I think it's the most notable program he's had in the last like 4 years.
Mhm.
And
Like,
that was also the reason he didn't get any more notable programs until right before he left.
this is true. This is
Yeah.
true.
And
Um,
that was not Logan's fault, and it was not WWE's fault.
Yeah.
so they shift to him turning heel, which I guess he became so annoying online that they just had to essentially do it. Also, they had no, they can't book a face to save their fucking lives. And it's even more prominent with Ricochet, who's like the easiest face to book, and you can just like, you know, it is what it is. But I think just the segment itself, I don't think he's had anything like that where he really had like a beat down segment, come out on top, really do his thing, kind of like show that. So it's like it's a plus for him, but I don't know if it's a net plus, is what I'll say. I don't know if this all adds up to being a great thing for Ricochet in the future, but I'll say that segment was probably the most notable thing he's done since the Logan Paul thing, which again, yeah.
Did he had it? I mean, it had to be blood. It just had to be blood, right?
Of
It had to
course
be
it did.
blood. He was using the scissors.
It just had to be blood, right? It
Of
just had to
course.
be that the only way to right? Like, the only way to get over
I
is
My issue with the segment was that no one came out to try to stop it until the end, where the three random white dudes.
my thing about the segment was that people were just sitting on their fucking hands watching it. They didn't give a shit.
Because it was what you, if there was security and or something along those lines, or something, just something to stand in his way, it would have made it a much better segment to me in terms of making sense. But for literally people, I mean, they've been watching people drug niggas and beat up and kidnap old people for the past like 6 weeks now. So I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. This company doesn't give a fuck.
Mhm.
Um, but the mere fact that no one tried to stop this man legitimately bludgeoning this guy with a scissors on national TV makes no sense to me. But hey, we've blown up niggas' houses, we've drugged them, we've you know, we've kidnapped old people. Like AEW is just where it goes down, apparently.
Whatever. What else?
Uh
Are we done with AEW here?
we can be, yeah.
All right.
Let's talk about Raw in LA. Let's talk about the Netflix premiere. Let's talk about that.
Let's do it.
Listen, man. It was a busy day yesterday. Uh, where do I start? Where do we start here?
I don't know. It's been like a busy week. Weekend. I want to ask Armon a second question,
What's up?
because you come from your vacation.
Yes.
When did you decide to go to LA, or why did you decide to go to LA? Did you go for
I
just this?
I planned to come to this before I even left for Ghana. It was just, making sure that I could get a ticket, connecting with the Netflix people. So I knew I had a ticket before I even went to Ghana. And it was just like, damn, bro, like I get back from Ghana the 1st, and then I'm flying out to LA on the 4th. Going from 5 hours ahead of the East Coast to 3 hours behind. I'm very tired, but it was worth it, especially because I knew I would meet J5. I got a bunch of people out here who I haven't seen in a while. And I mean, it's a momentous occasion. I want to be there for all these big moments. Being at Mania 40 was huge. And so I don't want to miss shit anymore. Like I think for all the FOMO that I've gotten over in other aspects of my life, wrestling FOMO be
Hmm.
hitting me hard. So I was like, yeah, no, I'm definitely coming out here to LA, and it's been worth it so far, man. I've been having a blast.
And J5, when WWE comes to town, you know,
Yeah.
was it abundantly clear this time that they were coming to town?
Oh, I mean, it's been a clear for weeks. I mean, the Intuit Dome, which is an incredible venue, by the
Oh, I
way.
need to talk. We need
Yes,
to talk about that.
yes, we do.
You know, that's the hot ticket in town right now. So anything that's going there, people are they're gonna find a reason to go. So like, you know, it was out there. But I mean, even like me and Armand driving yesterday, I mean, we saw the billboards. Like there's billboards
Hmm.
everywhere for it. Like
Yeah.
it was out there. And you know, like it was a big deal. It was a hot ticket. I mean, you saw it. I would say that of all the things that I've been to, Mania included, I'm not gonna lie, Mania included, it was the most celebrities I've ever seen
It
at,
was
like, a
nuts.
wrestling event. Yeah, like,
Bruh.
I've been to Manias before, I've been to all manner of events, especially ones out here, the most celebrities, literally, we walk in, Nikki Bella's right there,
Mhm.
I see Daniel Fisher right there. And we got there a little, like even like just a tiny bit late, so we kind of had to speed run through
Rapper
all the.
time, of course.
Of course,
Oh my
don't even get me
god.
started on that.
Woo!
Uh, we sped through. We kind of speed ran everything, but we were seeing celebrities just like as we walked in, and it was more celebrities there than they even announced
Mhm.
um on the video screens. Like
Like
there were a
way
lot of people
more.
fucking there.
Yeah, no, I
Uh,
saw. I was like, damn, they're not gonna introduce Flow Rider? He right
yeah,
behind him. I was like, you right there. That's Flow
uh, but
Rider.
but it was so cool, man, and I got to
Mhm.
see a lot of people that I'm friends with, and everyone. It just felt like a big party. Honestly, it
Yeah.
felt like a really big party, and people are gonna be, "You're a shill."
Do you
Fuck you.
think do you think that's the net do you think that's a Netflix connection, or is it like
It was
the
definitely it was
It's
definitely
both, I
Netflix. I
feel.
mean,
Mm.
yeah, it was all hands on deck. I mean, Netflix has a lot of connections in itself, and just to be real, there are a lot of, like, people who are just wrestling fans and just love
Mhm.
to come out to the shows, you know what I mean?
yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think a lot of it is that, and,
Was
I
West Side
honestly.
Gun there? Was he
Nah,
just
nah,
No,
he
he was
lurking?
not.
No? No?
couldn't get
I
in, no,
didn't I see they didn't put a camera on him, so I just had to make
they
sure he wasn't.
they chucked his number, bruh. He said, "Nah, nah, 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 we don't need that." But, again, like, it felt like a really awesome moment to be a wrestling fan, and,
Yes.
it's not like one of those things where it's like, "Please," like, I saw somebody saying, like, "Please, like, make this so cool so that we won't be embarrassed that we watch wrestling." I'm like, "No, like, be proud of this shit. Be proud
Mhm.
of the
Yeah.
good, the bad." I mean, obviously, there was some bad on the show. Obviously, there was some cringe on the show, but that's a part of being, in this whole thing. Like it's the good and the bad. But I think
Mhm.
ultimately, like, there were so many people that were having fun, and there were so many fun moments, that we're gonna talk about on the show.
What was the Intuit Dome like? I need the because it looked.
Oh, man.
I've watched YouTube videos on it because I'm someone who in a previous life admires like architecture and like how buildings and structurals and all this other stuff like that. And this
Mhm.
shit is kind of crazy.
Bro, the wall, like I think I saw like KD talking about it. He was like, "Yeah, I can't wait to play there and shoot free throws and be looking at the wall." Like the wall is a fucking wall. Like that
Yeah.
shit is just
Yeah.
very cool. It was to my left, so I just found myself like looking over there and just being like, "Yo, that's the way they set that up is
Yeah.
incredible." And then the seats are incredibly comfortable, and then you got the lights on the seats, so they're just flashing all around the arena.
I almost
The
feel like every other arena is gonna be ghetto after going from that
Oh,
Let me
because
yes.
let me tell you something.
Yes.
I was here when they opened Barclays. And you would have swore Barclays was like the new hot freshness thing.
Mhm.
Barclays is very much ghetto.
It is.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Barclays is very much ghetto. You get to a certain section, you might fall from the 200 section down into the 100 section.
Mhm.
So, and now even like years later on, it's just like it hasn't aged as well for as many people as they displace from communities to build that
Oh,
shit.
and again, this isn't B&D. Uh, this isn't B&D at all, but we came in through the back.
Mhm.
So, like,
Of
we didn't
course.
actually get to see,
Yeah,
like,
no, you didn't
we didn't
come
see
in with
the
the commoners, no.
we didn't get to see the breezeway and shit like that. So, like, I
No.
didn't get to see that until the end of the show.
Yeah.
But,
Let
like,
me tell you something. There's a great experience about coming in and an exit that not everybody else. There's just
Oh
a
my
great
god.
feeling of there's a feeling of like I don't think I can go back.
Mhm.
yeah, like, we stepped out and it was,
You
Netflix was,
stepped
like,
out to
greeting us.
admire the view.
Yeah, we stepped it felt like
Had
we
my
had
car
stepped
door
out.
open for me.
Yeah, you feel me? Like, it was
The
I
suite door opened and you saw people walking by. It was like, close that door, please.
cameras,
Like, it's loud.
I hit the Cody smile when I heard the
Uh-huh.
crowd, and then
Yeah.
and I kept walking. But no, it was really awesome. First thing we see, I got to say what's up to Mello. Got to meet Kalani Jordan.
Nice.
Got to meet King Troy, who does Seth's outfits. He's somebody that I want to try and get on the show soon. So look, keep a lookout for that. I've been talking to Troy, so we get to find out the ideas behind Seth's outfits. So like
Mhm.
I'm super excited about that potentially happening. Obviously taking hella photo ops.
Yep.
Uh, Like it was just so fun, and then you get to your actual seats. And then the way that it's set up, it's almost like a bowl, right? It's almost like
Yep.
a fucking like a circular bowl, and like even the screen at the top was displaying things. I sent you a picture of it, Meal. It was displaying
Mhm.
things that people couldn't see on TV. Like it was showing us what was coming up next. It was showing like it was doing all types of shit. Like when Sammy's entrance came on, it was showing the Roman and Solo match graphic, but it had the Sami Zayn things behind it. Like so, like
Yeah.
it would change with the fucking Titantrons. It was really fucking dope.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh. No, that's some sexy shit. And
Yeah,
I've admired it from afar. I'm like, God damn, they got the basketball court outside. They got all
and
the
listen, man,
a bathroom for a toilet for every nigga in there.
and the toilets was clean. It was clean.
Yeah.
It was clean,
Yes.
bro. It was clean in there. But one thing that I did complain about, I did not like that we had to like have the app and do the face scanning shit. That was
Mhm.
the freakiest Minority Report ass shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
So I go get some. I don't know if you got some, right, Armand,
What? Food?
at concession,
Yeah, yeah, I did.
quote unquote concessions, right? So
Mhm.
like there's a gate in your face before you even walk up to the gate. The whatever camera it is has already known. There's already seen your ass, and it opens for you. And then
Amen.
you just grab the food and you just leave, and it charges you.
Mhm.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's a we made it Inglewood proof.
Yeah. Oh,
we
they will find you, bruh. Like, if
Yeah.
you try and do some bullshit, they will find your ass, bro. Like, shit. Like, it's
that's
no joke.
that's so funny.
It's no joke.
Talking about the show. I want to get into specifics of the show on Patreon, but I would love to get into kind of the big grand things because I think with this show, its debut on Netflix, by the way. Shout out to Netflix just in general because there's never been more hype around a Monday ever. Um, I would say if I had a job to go back to, I'd be like, damn, this is the only time I would be happy it's a fucking Monday. Um, this the overall experience of the Netflix Raw, kind of like it feeling like a PLE, but it also feeling very like premium in a sense of like it felt more. I would say this is the show that felt just felt bigger than wrestling, even
Yeah,
though it was a wrestling show.
Yeah.
Like there were so many things happening. It legitimately was closer to kind of like it felt more like a live event than an actual wrestling show.
Mhm.
And obviously that's done on purpose and stuff like that. But people are obviously going to complain the matches weren't great, the matches weren't long. This was a 3 hour show, and we only got that in the first. But I'm saying like so many things were happening on this show, and I was like, wow, this is different. Like I watched
Mhm.
Raw from 2001, and I'm like, whoa, we're in a new era of WWE now. We're in a
yeah,
complete era of ads. We're in a complete era of like placements. We're in an era of brand synergy, and we're just in an era of like showcasing that this is just more than a wrestling show.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I mean, people can complain about that all you want, but like that was the audience they were playing to, and I felt as though that, like, they did a great job of doing that. Like, this audience wasn't looking for fucking 45-minute classics. They
Yeah.
weren't. It was a very casual audience. Like, they were into the entrances. They were into the moment to moment stuff with the stars. They were into a lot of shit. Like, a lot of shit that, like, the people online don't necessarily give a fuck about. Okay, like they were into the like the product stuff. Oh, I mean, they weren't into Hulk Hogan, but they were into
Yeah.
everything else. You know what I'm
Woo!
saying? Like you weren't into Hogan, but they were into everything else, and they were loud and proud about it. And
Yeah.
I
Y'all
think
did
that
y'all big one with that one, because I'm
hey,
sure the celebrities was like, "What's going on?"
it was the celebrities were. Well, they told me the celebrities did not know what was going on. They were
They
like,
were like, "Why would
what
they bowl Hulk Hogan? Hulk Hogan's
I
one of
thought
the."
you like and I think that, like, ultimately, like, yes, you could look at, his placement within the Trump stuff, and I think a lot of people are, like
I don't think that was it.
and I don't think it was either, and I think Wale said the same shit he said it to Eric Andre. He said Eric Andre was like, what's going on?" And it was just like, "No, like, it's decades of shit that have been building up with Hulk Hogan, and people are just tired of this motherfucker." Um,
This is the 10-year anniversary of him being canceled by WWE. It happened
yeah,
Mhm.
this year,
yeah,
Yep.
and Um, I'm I said it already online. It's proof like cancel culture does not exist because eventually he was reinstated like 3 years later. But there was a period of time where Hulk Hogan they edited him out of shots. They took him out of their Tough Enough show. They did all these other things. They kind of distanced themselves away from Hulk Hogan for at least for a period of time. He showed back up at I think they were doing the Andre doc, and he showed back on the red carpet for that, and then things kind of got started rolling there. But the mere fact this man went out, first of all, in LA of all places, and they sent him out to die.
Yeah.
Because I would have never I just feel I don't know. I think there's an experience where in another city, Hulk Hogan is applauded and cheered for coming out and doing what he just did.
Mhm.
Not in that city though. Not in Inglewood, no.
No.
Not people have not people have not forgot um what Hulk Hogan did. And whether it's the MAGA stuff, which was kind of crazy by the way, on Instagram pulling out of his private jet, tagging WWE, tagging Netflix, tagging all these other things with his
Wear
MAGA
MAGA
power
shirt.
shirt.
Yeah.
I was like,
Mhm.
"Whoa, you're crazy." So they sent you out to die, but the fans will never forget that, and they'll keep doing it. This isn't the first time that they've done it. They've done it in Tampa. They've done it in all these other places where they sent Hulk Hogan out and he just gets booed. Um,
They booed him in Tampa. Yeah, I forgot they
Mhm.
did that.
Mhm.
so they're gonna continue to do this, but I don't know.
He's a grifter, man. He's a high level grifter. And, I think people are just tired of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like it's very visible and again to my point earlier about like this is the type of fan it was. WWE fans are, regardless of like what they may try and push on it personality wise, they are into like the stars and things like that. Like because on the same accord, Taker got cheered heavily.
Yes.
Yeah,
It was hot in
So
there.
it's not the Trump. It's not the Trump shit. You know what I'm saying? It's that people just don't give a fuck about Hulk Hogan. Like I think people online are ascribing it to the racism thing, which is yes, it's a part of it. But I think that like a lot of it is just everything he's accumulated. Taker still has that currency. You know what I'm saying? That people
Mhm.
still love about him because he's not, well, other than last year, but he's not pushing it in your face. But it's like I mean, ultimately, bro, this is the America we live in, man. You know what I'm saying? Like there's people that fuck with whatever the fuck he was saying. You feel me?
yeah.
But
Mhm.
um they were into it and it did feel like a bigger moment than I've seen. And again, I've been to Mania and this felt bigger than Mania to me,
It did.
or as big as Mania.
Yep.
Like
No, you're right.
like Triple H's his speech at the beginning and the cold open as they called it on there and the reveal and then we get to Dwayne coming out
Let's
because
talk about it. Let's
I
talk
wasn't
about it.
Rock last night. I legitimately in my seat was like I was in there and I was around some other people who were smart fans too, and I was like, why is he a heel dapping people up? Why is
Mhm.
he a baby face? And everyone was around me was like, yeah, why he when he left, he was a bad guy and now he's a good guy again, and people were fucking confused. And I think that like I honestly want to know what the fuck is going on because again, at this point, even his actions after the Roman match, this seemed like it was him being the boss of the company and being like, you know what, I got it. Like I had noticed it after he gave the belt to his daughters, and I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
Right.
Like he's a babyface again.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I low key felt like, and I know this is probably wrong, but he came out, judged the scenery, and was like, "All right, face. All right, yeah, heel turn is over." I think he did that on thing, but yeah, I was just like, "Bro, wait, what? Why are you doing the same thing Triple H just did 5 minutes ago?" Except to like speaking to different people in the room, like like he's the Hollywood guy. Is like, I gotta thank my Netflix fam over here. Show them up in the booth. I'm just like, bro, what? Like,
People were big mad about
yeah,
the
that's what I'm saying. I was
heart
like, niggas not
issue.
gonna care. This is not a good time for CEOs, nigga. We just keep it
Yeah,
pushing.
he like came out with like the stubble on his chin too. I was like, did this nigga just decide to come today and not shave? Like what?
Nah,
It was
he's on
very
his
jarring.
Golden Globes. He's been in the city. He's gonna be on NXT tonight,
Hmm.
supposedly.
Yes, he is.
Um,
No, not even supposedly. He said it.
Yep.
That nigga gonna be there.
nigga be
Yeah.
saying stuff, bro. But to me, it was definitely jarring seeing The Rock kind of like after everything last year. And this is just proof that like the nigga does anything that he wants and doesn't give
Mhm.
a damn about like long-term effects or anything like that. That's why when we all questioned all the things that happened last year, even just last week when we talked about it on our end of year show, rightfully questioned
Yeah.
because The Rock is the person to do these kind of things and just like on a whim, he just feels like, no, I actually will not be at WrestleMania this year. And it's like,
And
ah,
that's is that what it felt like? Did it feel like he was like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna be there this year"? Like,
that's what it
that's what
felt
it
like
felt
to
like to
me
me.
for sure.
Kinda.
Like
It felt like, go ahead.
I don't know if I'm like third eyeing it, but like I almost think he might be setting us up to eventually turn again, which would kind of annoy me. So I don't know. I'm like split on it.
I hope not, bro. I'm tired of this bald motherfucker, man. Please leave me alone.
Yeah.
Please leave the game alone. Like we've seen it. We've seen enough. We've seen enough, bro. There's so much shit going on. There is so much stuff going on that I don't think we need The Rock this year, yo. Like I really don't. Like we've got the Cena retirement. We've got the Roman stuff. My only thing is like, where does this leave Roman? Like that is what
Yeah.
I'm like the most kind of concerned about. Because if it's not Rock, then who is up there that could do this?
Because literally
Jacob?
for like all of last year when we were predicting what this upcoming Mania card would be, we kind of had to work backwards. Like, all right, is Rock facing Cody or is Rock facing Roman? Okay, if he's facing Cody, what's Roman doing? If he's facing Roman, who's Cody facing? And then from there, it's like, all right, what's Seth doing? What's Punk doing? So
Him
it's
dapping up Cody was also some bullshit.
bro, weird. And then he mentions Mama Rhodes again. Like, what is he doing?
Cody's just there. He's like, I guess this is happening to me.
The fact that these people have to go along with this fucking egomaniac is just insane to me, bro. The fact
I
that people have to
agree.
go along they've trotted Cody out there because remember, like, keep in mind he knew he had to come back out in 25 minutes anyway. But, like,
Yeah, but Cody wasn't like part of the show. Like the way he's shown on the Netflix thing is The Rock is having this big speech, and then suddenly Rock gives his big ups to Cody, and then they shoot to Cody in the crowd like, "Actually, I am here," and I'm just like, "What? What?"
yeah. Like, cause it was supposed to be a surprise, and it's not a surprise no more, and I was just like, "Oh, Cody's here?" Now, like, I still
Should have
to be
gave him
fair
the damn championships instead of the daughter. Shit.
To be fair, I didn't expect him to come out. I didn't expect anything in the Roman match, like those cameos. But like like when you think about it in a vacuum, I'm like, you fucking spoiled it
Hmm.
for everybody.
Yeah.
It was fucking weird. I truly again, it was perplexing. Like, what the fuck was that? It's like, but again, they're playing to this audience. You know what I'm saying? Like they are
Yeah.
playing directly to this audience that was there on that night, and that is why they made that decision because these people who came in, they don't know that Rock is a bad guy. They don't
Hmm.
know that he's still a bad guy. These
Nah.
people probably jumped off of wrestling again after 40 or last year, and they don't know any of the implications that happened or what he even said before he left to Cody. We'll never know what he said,
Hmm.
what he whispered to him. We will
What
What?
did
never
he
Yeah,
know what
put
he
in his
we'll
hand?
just never know. I don't know, bro. Come
Oh yeah,
on.
what did he put in his hand? Oh my god, yeah. I don't care.
This nigga
Fuck
handed
the
him a
King of the
dime
Ring.
bag of weed, yo.
Dog, the three fingers and the throat cut, we don't
Yep.
know. We don't know what it
He's
means.
Hey man, he's like, this is gonna mean something eventually. And then what else happened? We had Travis Scott on the show. That was a noteworthy appearance just for him
Smoking weed.
smoking weed on the show.
Hmm.
I'm sure Snoop is like, yo, I thought my contract was fire, but they just had me talking and giving people elbows and shit. I could have been doing way more on this show or way less. Still a great entrance. Um, the what else happened? I'm trying to hit the big points without getting to the directing. Okay,
People
John
were mad
Cena.
because Penta didn't show up, and let me just tell
oh
you, they never put a date on any of this shit. So I don't know
yeah,
why
nah.
everyone's mad. They put no date on any of this. So what are you guys fucking mad about?
This was the big like this was a pretty big show. Like I'm not even surprised he doesn't make it on the show. It didn't seem like they wanted any small card stuff on the show. No
Yeah.
offense.
It would have been
Um,
a lot to try to introduce someone new on a card with Cena, Rock,
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Roman,
what I'm saying.
Rhea. Like,
And
It's
Cena
why
just has this great speed. Like Cena is like, I was like, God damn, this nigga's still great.
smoked it.
he's
Yeah,
great, and he's being realistic. Cena declaring for the Royal Rumble. I think the first man to declare, I believe. Um, it's he's saying that he's not showing back up to Indianapolis, so he's not gonna be on the show week to week until the end of the month or to the beginning of the next month. Uh,
yeah.
he's gonna be I mean, he's not sure. He said in the press conference, not sure how many dates he's gonna do. I would imagine he might do he's probably gonna do a match at every one of the big fours and probably one of the pre-big fours, probably so like Elimination Chamber, Money in the Bank for sure,
Hmm.
and all the big fours this year. I wouldn't expect more than 10 matches from him.
He clearly doesn't know anything what's going on, and people keep asking him like he does.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
like,
just
he has
It's
never
funny.
to me he's never to me been the type of person that like is politicking or does politic, but
Yeah.
like I truly believe he does not know what the fuck's going on.
but
Yeah.
then also I looked at the, and maybe you guys can speak more to that in the press room itself. Seemed like actual like publications and stuff that may not know of what he's doing to have those questions. So I'm actually take back that critique of that thing, because people like Associated Press and Deadline and Variety and all these other people wouldn't be know this on a week to week. Probably, I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, but it did seem, it did seem like a fun show. I want to get more to the specifics of it on Patreon, but the Raw was just it was on one.
It was worth the watch. It's definitely worth the watch.
I watched it this morning.
I watched it. Yeah, I watched a little bit of it last. I did not get a chance to catch the main event, so I had to actually rewatch that because we were like moving towards the press. I don't know why they start moving people to the press conference on the last match of the night. Like that is insane to me
Y'all
to
press,
do.
y'all don't need to enjoy a show.
Like I'm like we can't. They have a TV in there, but I'm just like, bro, the sound ain't even on. Like they don't even be
Hmm.
having the sound on.
Yeah.
Like it was it I went down to the floor and I actually was by where Wale was sitting on the floor just watching the last I think 4 minutes. I think from the Falcon Arrow on the top to the end I saw
Mhm,
because we were running around and I had to go rewatch it because I had to at least see who won. But
of course. Um, but you got to ask the question. That was
yeah,
fire.
I did. I did. Well, me and Josh Pease were there, and Josh was like, originally he was like, "Hey, you should ask Triple H if Travis is going to defend the the hardcore title." And I was like, "Nah, you ask that one, and I'll ask another question." He was like, "Okay, well, you ask Triple H about like the Attitude Era or some shit like that." And I was like, "Okay, fine, that works for me."
Yeah.
And so it as it's going on, and I'll be real, like this complete candid, just in the moment shit, right? I was very scared to do
Mhm.
anything. Okay, so like me and Armon had a conversation earlier that day about just like journalism and stuff like that, and I was just like, I had like kind of walked away from all of this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I hadn't been doing it. I haven't been doing it for a very long time. So I was like, do I still like? Am I still good enough to do
You
this
piece of
shit?
shit.
Like, what do you mean? I didn't know if I was still good. I was like, am I
What?
still? Like, I didn't know. Bro, I did not know, bro. I did not know.
How do you not know? You do this show every week and you have
I
great
know, but
opinions and great things
it's
on.
still I can't be
You
scared. I
have
can't be
great,
like
you're so
nervous.
tapped in. You're so, I mean, yeah, you can be, of course. I'm just letting you know that it's just silly sounding to me based on how I know you.
I know it sounds crazy, but I was worried about like I was like I don't know, like maybe I'm not good, maybe I'm not good enough. So I shout out to Jeff J for
You're better than everybody else. You're better than a lot of other people. Both you and Armand, who have asked smart questions at these things, whereas other people have just failed terribly.
Right.
uh shout out to Jeff J for giving really kind of that because I asked the chat, I was like, what do you guys want us to ask? And Jeff was like, you should talk about Punk's his jacket. And I was like, you know what, that's a good idea. So like, it's not wholly me. It takes a village, you know what I'm saying? It
Mhm.
takes a village to have all of this happen. And I don't want to take all the credit for it. But I took his question and I was like, let's put a twist and a spin on it, and I crafted it there, and I asked a question, and CM Punk, as everybody knows, like one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, and this is like my second time kind of having like really cool interaction with him, and I'm glad he enjoyed, and he liked the question. It meant a lot to me. I know it meant a lot to him for somebody to kind of recognize and know what the fuck was going on. And it was really cool. It was a really cool moment, guys. Like I really enjoyed, being out there and being able to do that. And I'll tell you one thing, they never called on us again.
It's like, all
They
right,
never
he's too
called
in the
on us
know.
again.
Get him
They
out of
they
here.
Bro,
Was it?
we need to. I'm putting out an open call, man. I'm putting out an open
Mhm,
call, bro. And this is no shade, no disrespect to any of the people there, any of the journalists, or any of the other people that were there. We need to show up in these rooms more, and we need to find ways, and we need to knock on these fucking doors, and and
mhm,
and make sure that we can show up in these rooms, because there were other, like, there was other black people there who I'm not even sure their outlet or their names. I wish I would have got them, because I actually did get to speak to them after it was over, but they kind of got looked over, and I almost got looked over
mhm,
because it was at the point where Punk was like, "Let me, can a female ask a question?" And it was to a point where, like, the rep came over and was like, "I would have given you the mic, but if you were female." And I was like, "Oh no, it's fine, whatever." And after that, he was like, "One more question," and they came back to me. So I would have never got that question if he hadn't have asked for another, one more question. But I also had my hand up the whole time, so like that was probably why he asked,
mhm.
or that he wanted to do another question. But I say that to say, like, we need to show up in these rooms, guys. Like, we
Yeah,
need to find a way to do that, because I feel like there's a lot of worth in having people of color there. I think there's a lot of worth in having, just having black people there in general. It was
yeah,
me, Josh, and like two other people in there. And Armand, unfortunately, we weren't able to get you in there.
yeah,
We weren't able to get you in there, but
yeah,
like it was very, 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 telling that, like, though they know these outlets, man. They know
Yeah.
them. And
Yeah.
that's why, and I don't wanna say it's favoritism, but it's like they're gonna go with what they know. They're gonna
mhm,
go with where they have relationships with, and we gotta build those relationships.
yeah. 100% agree.
I agree as well. Um, I think that's a good place to kind of like wrap it up for the free show this week. Um, I would like to take our conversations on this 3 hour SmackDown that seemingly come out of nowhere and seemingly will disappear like the wind at some point in the summer.
Yeah.
Um, and also talk about a little bit more any other specifics on Raw that piqued our interest or any of that. So I'm gonna Justin, you get us out of here. I don't
Yeah,
want to do
man.
it.
Thank you guys for I'm fucking tired. You think I wanna do it? Anyway, thank you guys for listening to the A Show this week. We'll be back next week with, week 2 of Netflix on Raw. We've got some big matches that were announced, this week for that, as well as the SmackDown 3-hour experiment, which we're gonna talk about on Patreon today. So for Meelz and Armand, thank you for joining us, Armand, again.
Always.
We'll see you guys and hear from you guys next week. Peace.